Okay. I'm actually starting with a bit of a trick here. Recursion, which we're going to talk about in the next couple of videos, isn't technically an algorithm. It's more of a concept that we're going to use throughout this section of the course to write some really interesting algorithms. When we get into sorting and searching through a binary search tree, we're going to be using recursion a lot, so I want to prepare you. And obviously, it's also a common topic in interviews. Actually, this is one of the most popular topics, I would say, when it comes to interviewing. Now, what is recursion, really? When you're searching for files on a computer, for example, if you're on your desktop and you want to find all your music files, your MP3 files on your computer, you can't do it by just looking at one folder. You want to look at folders recursively to find all your music. Let me show you what I mean. I have the project here that we've used for one of my other courses, and it's a backend API in Docker. Now I've cloned this repository and I have it right here on my desktop. Now, if I wanted to search through all the files in this project, I can simply type in ls to show me the files. But as you see in blue here, we also have folders that inside of them also have files. How can I also see the files in this folder? Well, I can do something called ls-r. And R, guess what? Stands for recursively. If I do this and I press enter, look at that. I get also the files inside of the folders. You see that I have a controllers folder with JavaScript files. I have Postgres folder with some Docker files, some SQL files. And within those, I also have another folder that has different files. But because I was able to list items recursively, my computer went inside of each folder and printed out the files. So what is recursion? Well, recursion is when you define something in terms of itself. Simply, it's a function that refers to itself inside of the function. All right, there's no way you got that right. That's probably the most confusing definition ever. Again, let me show you an example. If I open up the console here, a recursive function is a function that refers to itself. So I can create a function called, let's say, inception. And this function is recursive if I refer to itself inside of it. Oops, let's try that again. If I say inception here. This is a recursive function because when this function runs, it's going to call itself and run again. The problem with recursion and why people find it so difficult is that it's an intimidating topic when people start talking about math and theoretical applications. Instead, let's focus here on how recursion helps us solve problems. Recursion is really good for tasks that have repeated subtasks to do. That's it. Kind of like when we looked at the folders inside of this project. And the reason recursion is so important, and the reason that I talk about it first in this section before we dive into all the other algorithms, is that this concept is going to be used in searching and sorting algorithms that we're going to be talking about. For example, traversing a tree, if you think about it, are simply same tasks that we do over and over again. Remember when we build our own tree data structure, our binary search tree? And I gave for you a little function at the end called traverse that allowed us to print our tree so we can verify our answer. If we look at this closer, we see that we're using recursion here. I have a traverse function that calls itself within here. And this is something that we're going to demonstrate a lot of when we talk about searching and sorting in the upcoming sections. Recursion is everywhere. When we do DOM traversal on a website, if we go to elements here, when we do this traversal on an HTML document object model, we're using recursion. In JavaScript, when we have nested objects, so an object inside of an object, well, we use recursion. But the key to getting recursion is to understand that it's not that complex as long as you practice it a little bit. Once you get it and get over the initial hump, then it becomes second nature. And my goal is by the end of these videos that you're going to get recursions. So let's get started. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Yeah.